Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham, and I've traveled or lived abroad for 25 plus years and counting. I'm almost going to be 25 years and a half. And I've been to 114 countries. And that means I've probably entered a country about, say 300 times. So, drinking water. I'm going to talk about drinking water because this is always a hot topic. Everybody's afraid, right? Anything that's fear based, people they kind of target fixate on it and whatever. But drinking water. If a person was going to die from drinking the water, then I would be dead. Okay, because I drink the water. I often just get thirsty and I just go stick my hand under the faucet and drink the water. I just don't care. Okay, I've drunk the water in 114 countries, but there is kind of a thing on drinking water, like drinking just like a half a cup is not as much as if you was going to drink a gallon of the polluted water. But I don't drink the polluted water. I just sometimes I'm just way too lazy, right? Okay. What's my biggest water problem? I drink too much of my water in coffee. And so I got a highly imbalanced amount of coffee compared to water. And it's a problem. I really would like to lower that. I've quit drinking coffee twice for a year. And every time after 1 year, I started drinking coffee because the social life is tied around coffee. And if you don't drink coffee and they know it, oh, they won't ask you to go to drink coffee, right? Okay, introduction. I have been drinking water abroad in 114 countries for over 25 years. I'm Andy Lee Graham. Okay, I believe that we all drink water abroad every day. Anywhere you go, the reason is that you go into a restaurant and the plates are not completely dried and they wash them in normal water. They just can't afford to wash dishes in purified water. Um, Very few places outside the United States are going to spend the money to. I mean, sometimes they do have filters, but that's very, very rare. I've only seen it a couple times. So I believe that we're all drinking a little bit of the water, whatever's left on the plate after they washed it, right? And they're not really accustomed to drying the plates, right? But number three, you got to understand, you're always going to get sick. You change from one state, you go 150 miles from your local bacteria, and you get the germs and the bacteria and whatever little itchy things get into your body, and you will can get diarrhea. Okay, because it's adjusting to the new bacteria, and there's isolated different types of bacteria all over around the planet. So I always say I've been inoculated in 114 countries against the local bacteria. So like I've been to Lake Atalan enough that the bacteria that is here, I'm pretty well think. I'm in Lake Atalan. I'm in the city of San Pedro. I'm on the Lake Atalan, and I'm in the country of Guatemala. It's one of the world's most beautiful lakes, and it's by far it's the most perfect climate I've ever seen. I know about 19 of these places, 18 of these places. When you go up to a high elevation in the tropics, um, at about 4,000, 5,000 feet, 1,400 meters, 5,000, you have never-ending spring. Okay, so you don't need any kind of heat or air conditioning here. Once in a while, it would be nice to have a little bit of heat in the morning. Okay, I've had diarrhea many times, but never sure. I believe I don't know why. Normally, I think it's the food, and what I'll do is I'll eat too much coconut. If I eat coconut, it's got a lot of fiber, and if I ate a whole coconut, I'd be scary to go anywhere the next couple of days. Okay, because it just boom, just cleans out your colon. Somebody asked me if I do detoxes. I said, yeah, I take a coconut, but I can eat too much peanuts. I can eat too much beans, and I call this type 2 diarrhea. It's not caused by the bacteria. It's caused by an overabundance of fiber. And a lot of people do this because they go on a trip and they find some food like mangoes or avocados that are really cheap, and they go crazy on them. They eat too much. Type 2 diarrhea, eating too much fiber, coconut, beans, peanuts. You also have a placebo effect. People are, I aim to please is the word placebo. and I'm using it in an awkward way, but basically somebody tells them something and then they talk themselves into believing they have a problem, right? What I really think you're going to die from is the plastic. The plastics are there's microplastics that are populating that are going into your body and going into your lungs. Okay, and I do a lot of research on this, and the oceans are becoming full of this stuff. But drinking out of plastic, cooking in plastic, putting hot things in plastic, it's not a good thing. But a great hotel has 5 gallon bottles of water and an extra bottle sitting there. If you don't see an extra bottle sitting there, they're not really prepared, right? So you're going to have this window where there's no water, okay? Uh, I normally, what I do is when I stay for a longer time, I actually buy 2 bottles of water and I buy the little dispenser. It costs about $4, $5, according to whether you get ripped or not. What do I, Andy Lee Graham, have in my room that has to do with water? Okay, what I have in my room is I carry with me a glass. I carry normally 2 glasses because that's in case a friend come over, and they're plastic ones. Okay, and Guatemala actually in the Walmart type dispensa familiar sells a really great cup that will not break that easy, and it's stackable. I carry 2 of these because you need to be able to, even if you got purified water, you gotta you got to have something to put it in. So I get a glass. But then I often buy a pitcher. So like here, I bought a pitcher, a plastic pitcher for, I don't know, $1.25 or something. I carry an immersion heater. An immersion heater is the thing you put in the water. It runs off of 110. You can get them a 12 volt. You can get them 220, and it heats up the water. And I have 3 of these at any given time because they burn up and they break and stuff. And that's how basically, if I'm worried about the little animals in the water, I put that in there and I kind of boil the water. I got a bucket that's about this high and it's kind of rectangular, and I normally fill that up in the shower all the time, and I have it as an extra supply of water for a shower, or if I really needed to, I could drink out of it. But I also look in that bucket and I want to see turbidity or whatever the idea. Can I see the bottom of the bucket? Okay, if you can't see the bottom of the bucket, you better not be drinking the water. Okay, but the water here where I'm at is public water, and it's pumped up to a tank, and it's pumped up to a plastic tank. Okay, so it comes in off the public thing. They put it up to the tank, and then it's gravity flow to the room. But I always have a bucket to store water. I actually just bought a second bucket for 10Q, which is about $1.15 or something like that. And I'm using it as a table for my computer. I put my bed on the floor, and I'm using it to put my computer on as a table. But in the worst case, I can use it as extra buckets are used for all sorts of things. They're used for toilets. They're used to flush the toilet. There's all sorts of things you need an extra bucket of water for. If the water is shut off for like a day or two, it's nice to have about, say 10 gallons water sitting around. What do I drink from? I normally drink from a empty Nescafe glass container where I bought some instant coffee, and I make that into my normal glass, and then I stop using the plastic cups because the plastic is kind of it's blocking up our systems. Okay, it goes into the little capillaries and it makes you dumb, right? When plastic enters your body, certain things cannot go up into the capillaries, so this stuff goes and distributes itself in your alveoli and your lungs and all sorts of stuff, starts blocking up your body. um, I normally get 2 bottles of water. One of the interesting things, I ate some ice cream and they gave me a white container that was really big, about this high. And when I fill that up and I drink out of it, you can see it's so white, you can really see the water. So if you could have a white container to use as a pitcher, it's the best possible way to see the water. Um, how do I think about, what do I think about on purification? I think about ultraviolet rays. Ultraviolet rays, you put anything in a glass bottle, you put it in the sun, and you let it sit there about 12 hours or about 24 hours, and the water's pure. Okay, they have little things that you can put in the water that supposedly do the same thing, but I don't really trust that you can do this in 5 seconds, right? But ultraviolet kills all organisms. Okay, and the sun is the great purifier of the planet. The So at the end of the day, if you want your water purified and you want it free of animal life, little germs and stuff like that, bacteria, you put it in the sun. It will not remove the chemicals, though. The chemicals are more complicated. When I'm in Africa, different places, if I was living here, I would harvest rain, probably from some piece of glass that I would have on the roof that I could clean all the time, and I would harvest the rain and put it into a container. Then I would run it through a mild filter, and then I would do the ultraviolet radiation, and I would have some glass containers. Plastic 5-gallon bottles are, in a sense, polluting the planet, okay? And BPAs, they call them. But they have ways right here in Guatemala, somewhere up in the mountains there, we have a condensation, eight organizations that's using big screens, and as the air goes through the screen, the water drops down. And that's one of the best ways I've ever seen for harvesting rain. Maybe you don't know it, but distilled water is not healthy, okay? So part of the process of condensation and stuff, you can distill the water. You don't want that. I don't trust filters. I buy water. They sell these 5-gallon, 8 organizations always sell. I have never seen any test on these things, right? They don't sit there and say, we tested the water. Okay. I can have, if you join the $5 Patreon link in the bottom of any of my things, we can go live on Zoom, and when we have enough, we'll go on subjects like this, and we'll discuss it, and you'll have the ability to ask questions. It also gives you the ability to, in the case of an emergency, call me up, and we can talk and discuss your problem, right? How we drink the water without knowing it. Everybody's drinking the water. I don't care what they say. Okay, they always like, I'm blah blah blah. I go, I'm living in a $100 a night hotel. I said, you're a wanker. You are drinking the water. It's even worse in the big hotels, because the people in a small hotel, you got a mom and pop and a worker, and they can control the water. When you got a staff of 30, 40 people, they just don't care, right? But you drink the water. You drink the water because they're washing the dishes in the normal water. The water was added to the beans when they were cooking them, right? They cooked the beans in water, and they evaporated out ice cubes. That's always the joke about, I don't think the ice cubes are actually any more polluted water. I think they have a purification system, right, connected to it. So I think that's sort of a old time thing, right? But fake water. There's a business of people collecting water bottles that have been thrown in the trash, filling them up with water, and then selling them. So be real careful when you buy it. Like, they got a little thing around the edge. In Thailand, they put a cap on top of the thing that's plastic. If that cap is not on there, the water's recycled water. So a lot of times, the locals figure out they can collect all these bottled waters, those bottles, empty bottles, fill them up with water, and maybe they sell the bottle and they just take the cap off and hand it to you. And it's just local water, right? You drink the water because the filter systems are dirty. I was in Leon, Nicaragua, and the guys, they had a water system, and it's just not safe. You should just buy the water. But drinking it out of plastic, what are you going to do, right? Still a problem. NGOs, aid organizations, ONGs, they're all coming up with these water things thinking they're doing. But they don't test the water. I said, where did you test the water to say that this filter works? It's just bullshit, okay? Anytime you see a hose, it's hard to clean a hose, right? A lot of people they have a problem because of their alcohol consumption compared to the thing. And then, like in the Corona or the Tecate beers, they put a lime on the top. That's because the bottle is dirty. Okay, is the surfers were started this thing because you got two. You could put a Kleenex in the top of the bottle in Mexico, or you could put a lime in it. That's because the bottle is dirty and it's supposed to be used to clean it. It's not to put the lemon in the Corona or the whatever drink you're getting in alcohol. But people are getting sick too because their dogs are licking their face and they're licking dogs. Bacteria on a dog's tongue in a foreign country is a killer. Okay. Um, when there, there's a lot of people that are not prepared the first 5 days for water. They don't know how to manage it. They didn't think about it. It's like the hotel will give you maybe 2 little bottles of water and you drink them immediately and then you go to bed. You wake up in the middle of the night and you're in trouble, right? You need some water. So you go drink the water right from the tap. And you say, oh, you justify it. I'm in a real expensive hotel. The water's good. The water's the same as the poor hotel, the big hotel. Can you even... Okay. Fake positive sick. Okay. Because of the power of suggestion, a lot of people get sick from the water when they're not even really sick from the water. They're sick from the food. They're sick from drinking too much alcohol. They're just normally sick because they changed bacteria. You go 200 miles, 150 miles in any direction, and you have a different combination of bacteria. And some people are really super susceptible to this, and they get sick. They just talk themselves into it. There's a self-prophesizing bias to think that they're going to get sick, and so they talk themselves into getting sick. A lot of vendors, I had a guy named James here. He used to always sell this medicine for Giardia. And the minute he started talking, 2 people were suddenly sick with Giardia. Oh, I'm burping, blah, blah, blah. I got it. And he sold the medicine. So he was, in a way, he was a gringo selling to other gringos or a foreigner selling to other foreigners. You got to really watch it. They come up with all these ways to make money by selling kind of fear-based stuff. What do I worry about water? I'm not worried at all about water. Note, I have never seen water tested. Never. I check this out all the time. If you're going to sell a purifier, it should say what laboratory it was tested. I was going to have some water tested, and I think they wanted $50 to $100 to test it. It's very expensive. And then, testing all the different things that can be in the water. But truthfully, like I one time was going to do a research project where I was going to send a little bottles of water back to the United States and basically compare the purified water bottle to the local water to see what the difference. The guy said, hey, it doesn't matter. By the time it'd get back here, it'd be pure. You put water in a bottle and you let it go there for 2 or 3 days, everything dies inside for lack of oxygen and things like that. He said it doesn't work that way. You could check for chemicals, but we can't check for little bacteria and stuff. It'd be gone. Chemicals are a problem. Okay, you got fluoride, chlorine, different things. Inside the United States, you have more of a problem with fluoride, chlorine, and different things like that. I'll never forget when I was a young boy. I went to New York, Chicago, and I couldn't believe the taste of the water. It was like, oh! I said, Mom. And we're supposed to drink the water from the tap, and I go, this stuff is horrible. I think that chlorinated water would probably kill the microbiome in the stomach. I don't know. I'm just saying that. Fluoride is actually a good thing for making your teeth hard, but I'm not sure we want to have it added to the water. Okay, biggest problem for travelers. What are the biggest problems that travelers have? They drink fluids other than water. So they drink juices, they drink orange juice, they drink alcohol, they drink coffee, they drink tea, and they're really not doing their kidneys a favor, right? And I drink too much coffee, so I could have a kidney problem, but I try to slam a lot of water, okay? They follow the idiot leaders. So somebody comes up with some idea on the problem of the water and they do it. This is it's like group think, right? It's everybody thinks one way and they all jump on the wagon. Like you have a group think in the United States, these guys are protesting against Israel being on. They don't know what they're doing. Okay, they just are doing it. They're just young and they're copying each other. There's so few people that have the kind of experience level that I have, and it can really analyze it from a strategic, mechanical, chemistry point of view. They're just repeating information like it's journalism. They just churn the same idea all over the place, and travel writers just love to write about this stuff because it sells fear, right? It's kind of clickbait, right? But people find there's one of the biggest problems is people find that they love mangoes, avocados, and ceviche, and they just eat way too much. I had a girl in Brazil, and Andrea, and she's all of a sudden we had mangoes, and she was eating 5 mangoes. The first time I came to Guatemala, Astrid, this German girl, kept eating 5 mangoes a day, and she said she was sick. I said, "You can't eat 5 mangoes a day. You're being gluttonous about these foods." And a lot of problem with gluttony on food. Or the bigger problem is they come and they go on a 2 week drunk, right? Then they want to blame everything else except the fact that they got drunk every night, right? Or they try to save money. There's a lot of people that try to save money. Don't get me wrong, water is one of the most expensive things for a perpetual traveler like me. It can be $1 to $5 a day. And that's why I almost always will only live in a hotel that supplies bottled water or a way for me to buy water. Okay. But ideally, I would like a 5 gallon glass bottle. Okay. Plastic bottles are a problem. But people try to save money and they want to do like purifiers, like this little ultraviolet thing, or they get these little pumps and stuff. And it's just dangerous. You shouldn't do it. Okay, it's not purified, right? But the bigger problem is they don't accept that it's normal to get sick. So they go on vacation for 6 days and they're going to be sick for 2 days. It's just part of going to a different place. If you've never been abroad, and you suddenly come down to Guatemala, you're going to be kind of, your body's going to be adjusting for 2 or 3 days. So they got 2 or 3 days of limbo and they basically ruin their vacation, right? You really need, the first time you start going abroad, you need to go for like 10 to 15 days so you can give a buffer time between, for the first couple days. You can adjust from the jet lag, the pain of carrying your bags, the water, the food. You need some adjustment time. Your vacations are too fast. Okay, here's a whole complete list in this link of diseases and problems from water. I'm going to try to pull out the ones that I actually experienced. They got cholera, typhoid fever, dysentery, giardias. The fourth one down, giardiasis. That's one that's pretty common. Okay. Um, Amoebas. I've seen people get real sick from amoebas. That's about it. Okay, here are some symptoms. So the biggest problems you have is this giardia. Okay, it's Giar. I cannot say it right. Drinking contaminated water symptoms. You can get nauseous. You can be vomiting. You can have diarrhea. Okay, abdominal pains, dehydration. You can tell when you got dehydration because you look at the hands and they'll look like cracking. That means you're dehydrated. Um, and a lot of that's because they're afraid to drink the water, so they don't drink anything. And they go to the tropics and they're sweating about 5 times more than normal, and they haven't adjusted the amount of water intake. If you feel like drinking, you better drink. Okay, don't put it off just because it's difficult. Pay whatever amount of money to be drinking. Um, Fever, chills, muscle aches, joint pain, loss of appetite, weight loss. Weight loss is a very worrisome thing. And suddenly that could be worms and stuff in your guts, right? Tapeworms and stuff. Lethargy, but a lot of this has to do with eating foods that you're intolerant to. You have a food intolerance, and you're going to blame it on the water. if you get sick, stop eating but like 2 or 3 foods in a day that you know that you're used to eating. Okay, don't eat the exotic foods, right? Skin rashes, eye irritation, jaundice. There's a whole bunch of difficult swallowing, dark urine, cognitive impairment, and that happens a lot because of the alcohol and the combination of waters and food that you're not used to, and the body is doing a complete reaction to this. It's basically the immune system's kicking in, right? That's the reason why I keep talking about lymph gland cleaning, because you need to clean out the thing. A lot of times, instead of resting when you're sick, you need to go get some exercise so that the blood and the oxygen and the nutrients go through the body and you excrete all the toxins. In a lot of ways, the worst thing you can do is eat all day and do nothing. That's the worst possible thing to have when you're having water problems. You need to stay busy, okay? You got to get the blood pumping all the crap out of your body, okay? You got to get all the oxygen, you need the oxygen flowing, you need your urine flowing, you need the water coming in, you need everything to move. So, like if I got sick and I could, I'd just go to the gym. If I thought I had a thing, but I don't crap my pants, right? Wear underwear. And I will tell you, especially anybody that's the least bit worried about diarrhea, always know how to flag down a taxi and go back to your hotel. Or you got to know where all the toilets are in the thing. One of the reasons why it's really easy for my sister, my nephews, and people to come down here is because I already know all these things, and I can make sure when they have I got to go to the bathroom. They think that it's just like the United States, and it's not the night. You're not in Kansas anymore, right? Okay, detecting water contamination. If you can smell the water, it's funny color. It tastes funny. Sediment or particles. That's the easy one to see. That if you put it into a big container, I put it in my bucket, and if I can see the bottom, it's pretty. You can instantly. I think they call it turbidity. It's the amount of stuff in the water, and a lot of these guys, these hotels, they're told to get on the public water oftentimes, and what they do is they have a well, so they don't have to pay for water. So it's like a anachronism or something left over from prior time, and the well's still working. So they try to pump in water that's polluted into the hotel, and they mix it up, so they call it portable or potable water. The water, you got water that you drink, and you got water that you use for shower. They're different types of water. Change on turbidity. Presence of algae. This is a major problem. In these big tanks, maybe I can show you. It's too hard to see. They got these big round black tanks. And if the water doesn't move around and they don't clean these out, there's a lot of algae in these things. And I've never seen anybody ever clean one. Okay, I've never in 25 years actually seen somebody cleaning those tanks. Never. And it's pretty sad. So if the thing gets really empty at the bottom, it'll start, if say the tank is allowed to go down to nothing, all that crap will start coming through the lines. Normally it's just sort of floating on the top. Unexplained illnesses. A lot of hotels, a lot of cities are trying to have water lines go into the hotels, and they're often plastic, and they crack, and they seep in the toilet water or the wash water or whatever, and they mix. Okay, so if you smell or taste any kind of weirdness in your water, that could be it. It doesn't matter if it's it could be in the United States, right? If you had a water line that's, say, below the sewer line, and this happens, okay, and the lines crack, and basically the water's mixing in with the drinking water. But the pipes will leach water. Big problem with drinking water. The pipes, they don't put on when you use plastic pipe. You're supposed to put this primer on, and then you're supposed to put the glue. They just put the glue on. They don't put the primer on, and it's not a good connection. And then it's under the ground, and they don't see it, right? In Thailand, they have these little square. One of the most common types of sewer system is this squared, like 4 foot deep thing with a lid on it, and you can walk over it. Like in Thailand, you can smell the water. In Africa, you can smell this as you're walking along it. It's often used as a sidewalk. Okay, you see you're walking along the sidewalk and you see some little holes and cracks. That's the sewer system. Okay, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be the storm sewer, but they use it as a sewer, right? Um, People swap their pump water for the public water. Um, Ideally, what you want to do, like when I was in India, everybody was complaining about the water, and they had these water tanks, and at the bottom of the water tank, they had the collection point for people to carry the water, and it was actually very good water, okay. But if it went into the ground, yeah, it's horrible because they did everything sloppy. But they had people, and a lot of people in India are carrying water on their head. This carrying water is a much healthier way than having water go to your hotel. Okay, carrying water from a like a water tank that you see in a small town or something, and right at the bottom there's a spigot, and people come along and pick up the water, and all the city has to do is keep that tank clean and pure, right? It's really easy for the city because of kind of like economies of scale, right? But inside water tanks, they can rust. Got to look at the tank. Is it rusty? Water tanks are concrete. Those are really bad. They have a lot of algae. Um, there's a lot of problems with plastic. Environmental problems. Plastic does not just go away. It doesn't deteriorate. Single-use plastic. There's little microplastics that are being distributed into your body from the drinking water. There's chemicals. Let's see. Here's the term that comes up: bisphenol A, BPA, and uh, phthalates or something. This is in this thing, but they had a big scare a few years ago, and everybody went to steel or aluminum bottles. You don't want to go to aluminum. You want to go to either stainless steel or glass, or ceramic encased bottles like a thermos. You got glass. Glass doesn't leach over and cause you problems. Copper, aluminum, they're problems. Plastic, they're a problem. They put chemicals into your body. Um, Ingesting plastic is a problem. Okay, how to purify water? You can boil it. You can filter it. I don't trust this in the least. I have filtered water on the Amazon River where we ran it through a piece of cloth and we still drank it because we had no choice. It was muddy water. It doesn't. They would go in the middle of the river, right where the stream was, and they would take water off the top where the top of the mud had settled, right? And that's what you do in a really big place like the Amazon River. The Amazon River is like a lake that is moving. It's wider than Lake Athlon, okay? Um, you got ultraviolet ray purification. This is really the best, okay? You put it out in the sun, in water if you could. I mean, in a glass bottle. They have two types of plastic, and one of them blocks these kind of rays. So you got to get a clear plastic. You can't get that like light blue stuff. It won't work. Iodine tablets and chlorine will probably kill you more than the water. So they're recommending this, but probably safer to drink the water than using that crap. Distillation, which is evaporation. It's like a still. You evaporate the water, it goes up and it settles. I tried to make one of these tanks out of a glass guy over in Panachel, actually. And I finally realized that distilled water that's evaporated off and then condensates on the other side is not healthy for you. Solar disinfection called SODIS, SODIS. This is what you really need to study if you want to go live abroad. You need to study SODIS, solar disinfection. That is the process you want to know. Okay. Reverse osmosis, very common for anymore they got these little 2-room places where they're They got these big pumps and whatever, and it's only as good as the culture, right? This is not a strict culture, okay? So they can be very sloppy, and anything that costs money, they can delay doing. Activated carbon filtration, ceramic filters, life straw. I highly recommend you ignore this life straw where you suck. That's just stupid. Okay. For one thing, you could never get enough through that straw to cook with, to gulp down a half gallon of water. It's just a marketing ploy. Okay. Boiling water with solar cookers. Yeah. Ozone Nation. Moringa seed powder. I don't know. These charcoal filtration bleach. In a way, putting a little bit of chlorine in the water, putting it in the sun is probably one of the easiest things to do. But this is for the adventure travelers. I do this. I go into places. When I was in Iraq, they had these oh clay round basins. I was in Mosul, and we walk into the place, and there's like five of us men. They were all from this university. They're all university teachers, and they all grab the glass, and we use the exact same glass, and we drink the water out of this thing when we shared it. And if you're going to be an adventure traveler, you got to do it. I made a video one time of me drinking the water directly from Lake Athlon. If that scares you, I don't know what to say. It's not going to kill you, okay? But I don't recommend it. But maybe I'll go make a video of me drinking the water. I'm an adventure traveler, okay? I was National Geographic top 10 adventure traveler, explorer, explorer. They got like 8 magazines, right? Doesn't really matter, but I go to places where I'm off the grid. Somebody trying to call me? Okay, what do we drink from? Stop it. Okay, what do we drink from? We drink from aluminum water bottles. Don't do that. That's not the best way. Collapsible water bottles, that's if it's plastic, again, that's not the best. Cup provided by the hotel that's glass. That's okay. You can even clean it, right? And if you put it in the direct sunlight, it can be clean, but don't let them change it out every day because they're going to wash it in normal water and they're going to put it on there. And you just collect your glass and you purify your glass, your drinking glass. Filtering water bottles, which is just kind of a goofy thing. Foldable cups. Hydration bladders. These are those, I don't know what you call these things. I think this is a complete joke, except for bike riders and maybe the military and things. I mean, there are times like if you're going to do if you're going to, ride a bike for 50 miles where you got to have hydration. I have no idea how to clean these things. They're called camelbacks and whatever. I think they're absolutely a joke for a traveler. A water bottle does not leak. A plastic a 2-liter bottle doesn't leak in the bus. You can use them just like the other. So when I'm on a real bus drive, a long bus trip, I just buy a 2-liter bottle of water, or 2 of them, or something like that. I don't have a water bottle because I don't need a water bottle. I just once in a while I'm on a 15-hour bus trip, right? That's the only time. Anybody walking around carrying a bottle of water, I don't know. I think it's just like, it's like a nipple or something, like they're sucking a tit. It's something they want to do for their, phallic, they need that in their mouth, right? Drinking water from a bottle, like the Muslims pour the water into their throat. They don't suck it because you get a lot of oxygen. You don't really want to drink out of a bottle because it inserts a bunch of oxygen into your system. So you really need to pour it in a cup and drink it. Plastic disposable cups in the hotel. Who the hell's messaging me? Plastic hiking bottles. They work, but any kind of plastic bottles, not good. I really want you to get a glass lined, ceramic lined bottle, or I want you to get a stainless steel bottle. These are the safe ones. Everything else is pretty much just a a problem because you're going to get pressed. You want glass, okay? You got stainless steel, but they're always selling all sorts of things. So anybody that's stopping off at a 7-Eleven or a convenience store and getting a plastic cup with the paper on it, these things are leaching BPAs on you, okay? You really need to bring in your own glass and drink it out of a glass. You don't want to be drinking out of plastic. In the long run, and I predict this, that you are going to be finding people getting very, very sick in the future, and they're going to have a direct correlation, already they do, between plastic and cancer, okay? And a lot of you are just, everything's plastic, right? Water types available. Tap water is available, tap water with a filter on it, liter bottles, 2.5 liter bottles, 5-gallon plastic ones. The best one is a 5-gallon delivered in glass or any kind of glassed water. Now, if you can buy water in a glass bottle, that's okay. That's the best, even carbonated stuff. 5-gallon refillable. I think they have these in Florida, United States. You take, I mean, it's in the really ritzy places, they sell bottle because people are believing it's like a fashion, right? I think you should just get used to drinking the tap water and kind of just deal with it, right? But a 5-gallon refillable glass bottle, that's a pretty good deal. How to stay hydrated. I've learned that if you drink water out of a little glass, you drink that little glass of water. If you get a glass this big, this tall, you'll drink 3 glasses of water. So I highly recommend that you go to a really big glass, made out of glass, and you just slam it and you drink. You'll find that you will naturally drink most of the water in that container. So you got a little container or a big container. It's better to have the big container because that'll keep you hydrated. Drinking out of a water bottle is the worst possible way. Sucking water out of a Camelback thing is just ridiculous. I mean, you're going to be sucking on that tit all day long, right? Okay. Cleaning out drinking water containers. Now, this is where they don't talk about it. How do you clean these things? It doesn't matter whether I have a plastic one, a stainless steel, whatever. I don't know. I sometimes take and boil water and I drop my glasses into it, okay? Or I drop my clothing into it. You can kind of use chlorine, but I really would recommend you just boil water, then put it into the direct sunlight. And the ultraviolet rays will kill anything, and dry it really good. Dish soap, horrible way to clean your dishes. You're gonna get chemicals. Somebody's really messaging me. Dry and sun is the best. Soaking the water in hot water and maybe chlorine. Maybe you can put a little chlorine and bring the water almost to a boil. I mean, if you got a container big enough to boil water, you can clean all your things. I have no idea how to clean that hydro pack. I always ask these guys that got those bladders, right? How do you clean them? Blah, 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 blah. They just mumble, they mumble, they mumble. They don't clean them, okay? Okay, how the sun purifies. It's called SODIS, S-O-D-I-S. This is what you really need to get on Wikipedia and study SODIS, how to purify water through ultraviolet rays. Bottle preparation, filling the water, sun exposure, ultraviolet radiation. All organisms die in direct sun after, say, 24 hours in the direct sun, okay? So how long, this says, how long do you need to do it? If it says 1 day, do it for 2 days, right? But I really highly recommend you if you're going to do the SODIS thing, you got to pay attention to the plastic. That light colored blue is to stop. If you see purified water in the 5-gallon things, like I seen this in Dominican Republic, they store it outside in the thing and you can come pick it. That's a great way to store 5-gallon bottles. Why? Because the sun is purifying that water inside that 5-gallon container. And if they do it right, they could have glass bottles, and really it doesn't matter what they do, the water's going to be pure. It's going to kill all the organisms in the water because there's no oxygen, right? Temperature increase, storage. The best kind of water is if you walked up to the grocery store and all the 5-gallon bottles are stored in the direct sunlight. Removing chemicals from the water. You can use an activated carbon filtration. If I thought there was chemicals in my water and they were really, I would move. Okay, I would move to a different hotel. And a lot of times you see sewer and open waters and things are flowing down towards your hotel. And when I was in Anguilla, the island of Anguilla, there's a hotel for $1,500 a day. And right above it was all this polluted crap just flowing right into the hotel, right? It's the neighborhood that you buy when you pay $1,500. If the neighborhood is not as great as the hotel, you're getting cheated. Okay, you gotta know the neighborhood. Ow! Stop it. Reverse osmosis, distillation. I am sorry about that. If I turn off the Wi-Fi, maybe it'll go away. But sometimes I can't get the page open again, so it's kind of a risk. I just killed it. Normally, they're not that persistent. Ozone, that's aeration. There's a bunch of ways to purify water. Chelation is a thing to learn about. We are getting poisoned by chemicals, and what they do is they go into our fat, and the fat cell goes around this toxin. And when you lose a lot of weight, it'll finally let go of this toxin and it'll go into the water. So, I mean, losing a lot of weight, you might feel sick because the encapsulated fat cell is letting off this thing. But chelation is a type of chemical that you put in your body that binds with these different chemicals and basically cleans the body. So figure out chelation. It's kind of an expensive medicine, but it's a good thing to learn about chelation, because if you really want to be healthy, like if you live in New York City, you're getting chemicals all through your body all the time. You need to clean the chemicals out of your body. You're in a cloud of carbon monoxide that's settling and you're breathing it all day. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I traveled nonstop for 25 years. I've lived abroad for 25 years in 114 countries. I've been to Iraq. I've been to the Amazon River. I've been Africa like 10, 15 times. I'm here and you're not. Why not? I hope I totally confused you today. Just drink the water and deal with it. It's not that big a deal. If you're over, I don't know, 45 and you're really fat and whatever, better be careful. After 45, that's when small things can kill you. COVID-19 wiped out a lot of people that was not ready to deal with this kind of virus, right? Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham, hoboontheroad@yahoo.com is my email, hoboontheroad@yahoo.com. If you want to buy consulting, you can. It's $50 an hour, and I can walk you through if you're going to buy a house. That's definitely abroad. You need to call me. Okay, au revoir, hasta luego, ciao.